All right, guys, I hear you. You don't really like the 5-minute series. You don't like the stream of consciousness. I get it, and it's okay. So I'm gonna change. I'm gonna update my format of the videos to be a lot more detailed, instructional, and they're gonna be longer so you can sit down in an afternoon. The only difference is that the video frequency will be a lot less. Furthermore, I am actually starting an affiliate program with ECS Tuning. So all the parts that you see that we're gonna be installing in the upcoming videos as we rebuild this thing is gonna be through ECS Tuning. So if you guys go down to the link in the description, you'll see the affiliate link for using Garageaholic sponsored parts to build your E30 or E30 M3 or any BMW through parts that ECS supplies. So without further ado, guys, enjoy the rest of this video. I'm hoping that you'll find this a little bit more inclusive, informative, educational, and entertaining. Let's do it. Okay, so while the motor marinates on the stand, we are going to go back to the E30 and we're going to start to continue the demolition process and getting this car completely stripped. And that includes getting rid of and taking out the entire wiring harness from the inside all the way to the firewall in the front and clearing out the engine bay as well. We're also going to start removing the doors and the stuff for the doors so that they can be painted as well. So let's go on ahead and just start removing stuff, and I'll show you how to remove the entire harness from the inside to the outside through the firewall. Removing the accelerator pedal is always a challenge, but it's possible. Yeah, that's it. You kind of take this, take both of these guys, 2 screwdrivers, one like that, and then the other like that, and if you hold them both right and pull those pins in, it should pop out, just like that. That was actually kind of difficult, but what it does is it allows me to take out the carpet. So after removing the accelerator cable on the firewall, here's how you do it. What you need to do is, you can see that this piece is really the hardest part to get removed, and you have to do it from inside the car. You need to make sure that you get some sort of clamps or pliers just like this. These are clip pliers for removing clamps and things like that from most applications. And in this case, I'm using it in order to pinch these pieces here in like that, right? You can see it on the other side too. Pinch just like that. And when you pinch on this, you push it from behind as you're pinching, and it should come on out undamaged. If you damage it, you're going to need to get an entire new accelerator cable assembly, because this goes to the pedal. This grommet here can slide right off of the assembly that goes to the pedal. So this guy is really the hard part to remove this, which is why you saw I did it last after the harness was removed. I just didn't want to do it because the positioning is really difficult. But all you need to do is take these pliers and pinch them just like that and crimp them, push through. I'll have a link in the description down below where you can acquire these types of pliers. It is out. Now we got a bundle of harness back there, and some of it snakes around the side. And what we're going to do is take this harness and basically put it all the way right up front there so that we can get ourselves to a position of just sneaking it out through the engine bay. So ideally the way to do this is to keep the door propped open, press these 2 tabs in toward each other, and at the same time pull the harness out. So I got the harness basically held in place pretty good, pressing the 2 connectors in and wiggle it right on out, just like that. Then, to remove the connector from the body side, you push these tabs in and the whole thing just kind of pulls out just like that. You got a couple of additional connectors in here, and when this guy goes up to the map light mirror, and you have another connector here that goes to the door sensor. There's 2 actual spade connectors. You gotta wiggle them back and forth a little bit, and eventually they'll come out too. And basically, you're just about set. Now to take out the wiring harness that goes up the driver's side A pillar to the sunroof motor, what you need to do is remove first this guy. This is your sunshade spring-loaded retentioner that helps the wind go over, and there's a bunch of screws there that need to come out. They're basically countersunk screws right there. And then that reveals two longer screws, one here and one here. Those get removed, and that allows you to remove the visor holder. That basically is a cowling that covers the visors and the motor. And then that all comes out when you obviously remove these as well, these 4 visor holders. And then that comes out, that exposes everything that you can then easily disconnect and remove from the top of the shelf. Everything in the engine bay in terms of wire harness stuff is also removed. And what we need to do is pull back from the engine bay out. And it's going to take a while for all these harnesses to wiggle their way through. So you kind of want to remove one hand here like that, and the other hand is kind of feeding it from the back side. And you just kind of take your time with it and pull it out that way. The harness is out, and don't worry, we're going to be redoing, laying this whole harness out in an entire bay of the garage and relabeling everything and making sure that everything is good, no cuts, no pulled pins, no pulled crimps, and we'll relabel and wrap things as needed, especially in the engine bay. The engine bay wiring was terrible and needs to be rewrapped with nice cloth tape. Now we need to move on to the next thing, which is removing the wiper module. Now this wiper module was a single wiper. It was converted to single wiper, which we don't want. We want to convert this back to a stock dual wiper configuration. So I want to get rid of this old linkage, and we'll put the new one in after this thing comes back from paint. But for now, let's just take out the old wiper module, and I'll show you how to do it. I mean, it's actually quite self-explanatory, especially when you have the car broken out this much. But all you got to do is just use, I'm using an adjustable, but it looks like it's probably like a 22, and you just turn these guys both. You do the rest of it by hand, and then don't lose those, by the way. Then you got to remove this 13 millimeter, and the whole thing should drop down and out. Looks like there was some heat damage here, and they had rewrapped a number of different, yeah, they did a rewire here too in order to make this a single wiper. So this guy is definitely going to be sold, that's for sure. All right, as we start to work to remove the headliner, we realize that most of the sunroof components need to come out. I've gotten a lot of that out, and I've cataloged all the parts here in nice plastic baggies so that I can clean them up at my leisure and get back to them later. But there's been a lot of goop that's been added during, it looks like at some point it was repainted. But this headliner is shot. You can see that there's an inner liner here, that's this white liner, and then you have like the glue that holds the black, the black fabric on as well, and that's shot as well. This is a different type of headliner that you see on normal modern cars. In fact, the modern cars you'd see have like a big, like a molded cardboard piece, and then you basically glue the fabric to that. In this case, that is not what's here. What you'll see here is that the fabric is being held in place by these rods. There's a couple of these rods here. There's one right here on the front that clips into the front, and there's one right here as well, and then there's one in the back. So we need to have a new fabric made with a new liner and the rods, and also the stitching for those rods in place, and then we'll be in good shape. But let's talk a little bit more about the sunroof. We removed everything on the sunroof and all the hardware, so this does need to be cleaned up. We removed the cables as well. The cables are all here, and they are in excellent condition. They're a little bit sticky, so we need to clean off all of that old grease so that the motor doesn't have to work nearly as hard, and so that the sunroof moves in and out very quickly. So that stuff all needs to happen later on down the road. But for now, as you can see, the headliner is peeled up and kind of comes up around here and clips into the guides. So the guides are what's holding it in along with the glue. What we need to do is continue to peel back the headliner around the perimeter of the sunroof so that the headliner then just falls down. You can see here, we're just kind of peeling it away. You can see that the headliner is completely removed, and we do need to remove that foam, so we'll do that next. But to take a look at the headliner material, I laid it out here. You can see that it is supported by 3 rods, one in the front, one in the middle right there, and then there's one on the other side too. Now these rods are what basically hold the headliner up from sagging, and there is stretch to it. So it's very important where those get woven into the fabric. You can see it's getting woven into the fabric. And now you understand what I mean when I say that it's actually a different type of material than the newer style headliners that have like a piece of cardboard and you just glue the headliner in. There's very little gluing here. The only gluing that's being done is on the outside perimeter of the entire headliner, where it's gluing into all the jambs of the doors and the windows, and that's all covered up by the trim anyway, the trim and the seals and things like that. So this needs to be redone for sure, and we got to make sure that we get like a good one. And of course, the sunroof piece as well is going to get redone. And you don't want to use a padded version. You have to use a thin material that doesn't, when you glue it on, it doesn't create too thickness of a section so that you can't get your trim on and things like that. So you have to make sure that you use the right material. And we'll go through that as we go through the rebuild, guys. Don't you worry. All right, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this new installment of the E30 M3 restoration series. In all honesty, I think that this is going to end up working out better for you guys. As someone who watches these videos, I think you're going to get more out of it. As you can see, we're departing from the 5-minute video series and going into some longer videos that have more detail about how to do specific things that are more difficult for the average person. And I'm learning as I go here too. But in the next episode, you're going to see that we're going to start working on some body work. In particular, we're going to be removing and replacing this lower windshield cowling piece, and there's evidence of damage in the rear end. This car was in an accident of some sort, so we're going to be replacing that rear tail panel as well. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your time. Always, thanks a lot, and don't forget to subscribe. My name is Frank Macaluso from Garageaholic. Take it easy, guys. Later.